Welcome to another episode of Conversations with the Candidates. It's that time of year when town elections are growing near, and what we try to do is have folks join us to talk about their campaigns for office. We usually primarily, again, for the towns of Whitman and Hanson when we are looking to talk to candidates. Not so much for other level of government, whether it's county or state, but we're privileged today to be speaking with Steve Cloutman. Steve is a candidate, he's an incumbent for the Whitman-Hanson Regional School District, as there are two seats that are up for a couple of for the Hanson side on the Hanson ballot. Steve, welcome to Conversations with the Candidates.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you reaching out to me. Thank you.
You got it. Let's start out with, we can't assume that everybody knows who you are. I'm sure they see you during the school committee meetings.
Yes.
But tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Certainly. I've been a resident of Hanson for 20 years, roughly. I've raised 4 sons in the town who have attended Hanson schools. They've played in Hanson sports. One is currently enrolled in the Air Force. Oh. One is pursuing a business major at Bridgewater State, also pursuing his dream as a running back. And I have 2 sons that are also currently living with me as well. And they're both working hard. So it's been fun meeting people in the town for the 20 years through sports, church. It's a beautiful town. I grew up on the North Shore, Gloucester.
Oh.
I lived in Beverly, Salem, Danvers, Peabody. I ended up in Rockland, and in the year 2000 I got married, moved to Plymouth, and then we moved to Hanson. The marriage didn't work out after a few years, but it's a transition period for the last few years, but I've always had an interest in politics, and mostly on the national and global scale. But I met some people in town who were shared some similar views, and also encouraged me and suggested, would you like to try running for some local positions? And had some conversations with them, and it seems to have gone that way.
Is it the primary thing that inspired you? Because to run for school committee and to run for a regional school committee, it's different than if you're just running for a single town, because there's a lot more that's at stake, and there's a lot more to discuss. What was beyond folks encouraging you? Were there other things, or did your background kind of give you any kind of assistance to be able to run for this office?
Well, my background vocationally is I'm an electrician. So I work tools. Very rarely am I behind my computer, other than to check my emails. Yeah. Or I'm a musician as well, so I spend my time learning songs, and it was an opportunity. I didn't know much about it. I had opinions of things you hear in the media about what's going on in public schools. So I had an opinion of what could possibly happen, what I would like to see happen in my community, what I would not like to see happen, and could I make a difference? Could I voice some opinions? So it was an opportunity which no one else seemed to be stepping up to. And again, I was very encouraged to do so. So it's like when you come to the edge of, we used to go swimming in the quarries in Rockport. You come to the edge and you look down, like, what are you going to do? The only option is to just jump. So when you do, and you're glad you did. But it's been interesting. There's a lot of learning, and there's a lot of continual learning. The terms, I've sat there for the last 2 years, and I thought everyone was speaking a different language. So I've taken notes, and everyone is open to questions if I have any questions about certain terminology, how things work. There's information out there too. I can get more familiar with DESE's website. So there's ways to get informed about how the school system works.
See, so the last 2 years, you would basically say, has been somewhat of a learning process to get acclimated and understand.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what have you gleaned from the past 2 years, and how it's going to help you for the next term if you're elected?
I see a lot of sincerity from school committee members about and what they do. There are a lot of teachers on the school committee as well. There's love for what they do. There's love for the students. There's genuine concern for the students. That's their main priority. Again, I've never been an educator other than trying to give it my best shot with my sons. And I mean, we're all teachers. We can be, but
Some degree.
to some degree. But that's the vocation they've chosen. That's what they love to do. And again, the superintendent, definite concern and love for the students. I've never seen a happier man when graduation time comes around. It's very joyous to see him. He delights in it very much. So I've learned to be respectful of other opinions, whether I agree with them or not. Listening to others talk and finish what they're saying without trying to formulate, how would I respond to that? What's my answer to that? Do I agree with that? Do I disagree with that? So I am constantly taking notes. If I do disagree with something, I want to know why. Why do I disagree? Is it a better opinion than why? So I'm constantly researching things that I hear and am uncertain of, or may have a different opinion at the time. I myself would like to be educated more.
It so happens, so what we're looking at right now, and while this is probably an interesting political race and interesting times, is both Hanson, the community you want to look to serve on the regional school committee, and Whitman. Both communities are looking to pass a Proposition 2.5 override. Hanson is looking for $3 million.
Yes.
It passed successfully at town meeting.
Yes.
It's not a done deal yet.
No.
Whitman, they passed a little bit more than $2 million. Mm-hmm. That also is still something to be decided come May 17th. How do you view these particular override efforts, and would you say that you're someone who supported such a method or other?
To me, it's a stressful time of year.
Yeah.
And seeing last year how stressful it was and the combative, I wasn't looking forward to this time of year again. It's too combative. There are certain things that I say can't change, but I would like to see them change. And it seems like the things that I would like to see change are state level issues.
Yeah.
I would like to see the school committee and the town working through our reps, addressing things state level to get those changes.
Yeah.
There are things we can't do. There are things the school committee can't cut because they're mandated by the state. Yeah. So there are issues like that. It's very challenging. Do I hold my police and fire department, whom over the years I've grown to know personally? They've coached my sons. I respect them. I've met many over the years. I pray for them. I pray for their families. Do I want them to have a good, safe working environment? Of course. But do I want everyone to be fiscally responsible to live within a budget like every individual who has a job and is running a home? So it's that view of that. I have to maintain a budget in my house the best I can so I don't lose that house. But It's difficult. I'm not a finance guy. I'm not a finance major. One day I'll be asking my son how to do this, but these places need to be funded, the municipalities, police, the fire, the school as well. I mean, we're paying $10 for eggs and milk, and of course, everybody else, everything goes up for everybody, so health insurance, you go through. It's open enrollment time again. So, I asked the secretary, she says, is it going to go up? Of course it's going to go up. It's like a given. So, what do? You just continue to bite the bullet and work as hard as you can, get a second job. It's challenging for everyone. But there is a set rule. There's Prop 2.5. I just think everyone should be making an effort to, over the course of the year, to stay within those confines.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work out that way.
It doesn't. Well, if for some reason, come May 17th, the voters at Whitman-Hanson say, we do not want this override, and they vote it down.
Yes.
Which there is a very good possibility.
Yes.
What do you feel the district should prioritize when it's making its difficult budget decisions? Are there things that you feel that will need to be prioritized and other things that will need to be put aside and cut?
A close look at police and fire, I would say prioritize. Life safety. It's like I did security, fire alarm, and electrical when you're working in a hospital. There's a life safety circuit. That's the one that's imperative. And I believe that's police and fire in a community. They need to have the means, the funds to get the equipment they need to do their job safely, where the officers' lives are not at risk, first of all. So, yeah, that would be a priority, and that would need to, am I saying give them everything they want? No, just take a close look at it and evaluate what they need. I mean, personally, I won't mention names, but I know someone who wants to get on the force, and I'm extremely proud of this young man, and I hope he does, and I hope he has a good, solid career in law enforcement. And I think it's contingent upon the override, whether he does have a position in the Hanson Police Force. So, I mean, I want to see him go as far as he can. So,
Sure.
So yeah, I would say take a close look at those two departments. And yes, the school system is extremely important about the future of the kids.
Yep.
The curriculum, there's things that I'm concerned about, like you can't just keep dumping money. That's not always the answer. It's not always the answer is funding. But evaluate, take a close look at what we can cut. What's challenging to me is all of my sons are athletes. We're very good athletes, one's continuing that pursuit. And when we were raising our kids, our combined finances were never over $100,000. So we struggled all the years of putting our kids through school. And there is talk about raising the money for the sports fees to participate at the high school and to have no cap. So we had 3 kids in the high school at one time. So I believe we reached that cap, but there's some talk about eliminating that cap and $500 per student who wants to participate. Per school year, per sport.
Oh, goodness. So you're saying that it could be, if let's say your son was going to the high school and he was a 3-sport athlete,
yes,
then that could be $1,500 just for one kid? Is that what you're saying?
For one kid, yes.
Goodness. That's if they lift the cap.
Yes. Yeah.
Are they talking about doing? But they're talking about doing that.
They're talking about eliminating the cap as well.
How do you feel? How do you feel about that? Do you feel that that's something?
It's extremely challenging. Yes, because not everybody is there with a hunger for education, with a hunger to learn.
Yeah.
There's some are, and it's evident with we have student advisory council. These young ladies, you can tell, they're hungry for knowledge. They have a vision for the future. It's great to see. Not everyone is like that. People will just want to come. The boys, and girls as well. Girls have a passion for sports as well too. But not everybody wants to pursue a college education. In high school, please get me out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is my last year. I'm out. I want to get to work, make some money, get my car.
Use your hands.
Yes. So does that mean you dumb down all the levels of? No. You know what I mean? But
Well,
you want to have the curriculum there for the students who want it.
So let me ask you this. Let's look at two different scenarios here. And again, these are hypotheticals that I'm throwing out here. All right. Let's say that the override passes. Let's say that we see the finances for the two communities prosper for the next few years here, which means that the additional funding. What would you like to see added to the Whitman-Hanson Regional School District curriculum, whether it's the high school, which maybe it's language, maybe it's certain different type of academics? What are some of the things that you would like to see added? Maybe even maybe keeping that cap in place for sports. What would you like to see if, in fact, that the finances of the communities seem to be better in the next few years?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm not thoroughly aware of the contents of the current curriculum.
Yep.
And that's something I was going to email the chair and the super about. It seemed like last year the curriculum was placed before us at a meeting, and we were to vote on it here and there. I would like it ahead of time to be able to research a bit. So it's something I would like to bring up to the super and find out, is there a way I can look into that curriculum before there's a vote. I'm a big history buff, and American history, I think it's so unique, where the founders have devised a way, and themselves being influenced by the writings of Thomas Paine, Common Sense, things like that, saying how a monarchy will not work and should not work, and vesting the power in the will of the people. The way that's devised, so unique and an experiment, and it's the way we can be free and choose our elected representatives and have this type of representative. I think it's just so incredible and should be emphasized to students at all levels in a way that's broken down. And I'm not saying it isn't, but it's something I cherish. And if it's something that you can teach or present to the kids in a way that they will begin to cherish as well, they'll grow up to be members, wanting to be members of a community, members of the society. Like, they'll find out life's not all about wrapped up in themselves. So again, that's American history does that to myself. It's encouraging and it's enlightening.
So on the other side of the coin, we talk about if financial times are good. Let's talk about if the override does not pass come May 17 for Hanson and Whitman, more so Hanson. What are you concerned with as far as what could be cut? Are there things that you do not want to see cut or eliminated that you would do? You would want to do whatever needed to be possible to retain? And if there are things that need to be cut, where would you look to cut, if possible?
I'm uncertain if some of the cuts would be, again, some things are state mandated, which there probably could be some work done in that area.
Yeah.
But you legally can't. So again, those are the areas. It looks like it would be a long-term battle to address those, but in the immediate future, the immediate likeliness of it not going forward, again, I would not like to see the increase of school sports fees. I don't want to see that cut. There are departments where, again, I don't work there, so there are administrative agencies that I feel would need to be closely looked at before teachers. And I just can't talk that point to exact. I don't know how many people are on staff. I know there's currently 600 people employed. I don't know who's doing what, who's an assistant to who that's needed. An evaluation of that really needs to take place, and most likely has. I am just not of an opinion of who or where precisely. Again, over the years, there's been a big talk of DEI programs and inclusion, and are there people employed who are making sure that everybody's included? We're all diverse, and that type of talk, and I don't agree with that type of talk. It creates groups of people who are to be treated in a certain way, or does this group need to be elevated, or does this group need to be brought down to a lower level? One thing I heard over a decade ago by the athletic director, Bob Rogers, on orientation night, year after year he says it. When you enter this building, you're a student. You're not a, if you participate in athletics, you're a student athlete. It's always student first. It's not student of this group, whether it's race, culture, whatever it is, you're a student. So I do strongly disagree with, you can have clubs like that. Some schools, I'm unaware of what type of clubs are in the school system right now, and those exist. But I don't believe they should be funded by taxpayer money. And I just don't believe individuals should be grouped and promoted or demoted in a certain way, just so we are on an all level playing field. Yeah. When you enter any of those buildings in our regional school district, you're a student. Everyone's treated the same way. Kids are kids. Are kids going to belittle some? That's human nature. It's tragic, and you deal with it. It's a disciplinary action, but that's human. Again, that's human nature. We all should be taught and instructed, and that's a parental issue as well. Learn to respect others, and when you step into a building, you need to conduct yourself in a certain way. So,
how do you feel that the school committee could better communicate with the residents? And do you feel that the school committee has a good working relationship with its local legislators, whether it's the select board, whether it's the state representatives who work for the towns up at the state house, or even your state senators? Is there a good working relationship, especially knowing that you may have these unfunded mandates, or if you want to gain more local aid, or you want a more per pupil dispersal, or an increase in that? Because I know that over the years, it has been tough. What the state does is every year you have representatives that need to ask to raise the per pupil, which I think is $30 per pupil right now. And every year it seems as though
for Chapter 70 aid you're speaking about?
Yeah, this is per pupil funding.
Yes.
And that it resets every year to $30 instead of it being remaining where it's elevated to, whether it's at $50, $70, $100, what have you.
Yeah. So, addressing that issue is, I believe there's a proposal by the governor for a 75% increase on Chapter 70. The House proposed 150. So, looks like the Senate is looking at that now. So, currently, there's probably a lot of waiting on the budget right now, what's going to happen. And, but to address your question, I don't see any hesitancy or any animosity or, between the school committee and the select board. Of course, there's been dialogue. I don't see any restraint or not wanting to dialogue. I've seen both sides.
Well, there's
Let's
been a
come
long.
together.
We know that a few years ago there was a whole kerfuffle about the method and changing it to statutory method and changing it from there being a 60-40 split or whoever has more students or what community is richer than the other, and that's been an ongoing conversation.
Yes, that is. Yeah, it is. And that still will be an ongoing conversation.
How do you feel about the board structure where there are, I believe, 4 that represent the town of Hanson and there are 6 that represent Whitman, and I guess that's part of the, how when they initially came together as a region, that's how it was decided. What's your thoughts on that? As far as, do you feel that they should be a little bit
represented?
Yeah. Do you feel that Hanson's a little underrepresented, or that there should be some kind of a change?
I wouldn't see why not. This should be more of an even. Yeah, especially on a board.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know all the details of why financially it's different, or population, all that.
Yep.
But on a board, the representation should be more equal.
We got a couple of minutes left in our conversation here, and as you know, time flies when you're having fun.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything? Is there a topic we have not talked about? Is there something I haven't asked you? But you want to take a couple of moments to talk about?
I do want to mention that I respect people's attitudes about the override situation. Yes or no. I see the implications. I see the importance of having a fantastic school system. I have my next door neighbors, 3 little kids who are just starting to enter the system. And I see the importance of life safety, our police officers, fire department, how they need to be funded as well. I see the importance of our population who have lived here their entire lives, who are now on a fixed income and who are tight and who are struggling. And I want to respect their wishes as well. And I want to do everything I can to help them maintain where they are right now. That money is not just going to appear for them. Their taxes are going to go up. And what are they going to do? One day I'll be faced with that as well. God willing, I'll work another 10 years, whatever. But I've been faced with that over the years, but I don't want to be faced with it when I have a fixed income.
Right.
Someone needs to be looking out for them as well, and to be their mouthpiece as well. And it's just as an equal level and respect for what they've done and been able to raise their families and retire, and wanting the best lives, the best days ahead of them. One thing I did want to mention, so however the override does work out, those who are against the override, they're not against students. They're not against kids achieving, doing their best. So one thing I would like to say, and it's a plug, and I think it's wonderful that we can all do as a community to affect students. The students that are going to pursue higher education, who have that dream, who have that vision, reward them. Contribute to the Dollars for Scholars scholarship fund. Whatever, $5, $10, whatever we can do as a community, let's flood that fund and show these kids that we care about their entire school environment over the years by, here's the final thing that we can do for you by sending you off, and give them a monetary gift. And as a reward for seeing that. And that drive came from in themselves. It didn't come from the teacher. It didn't come from the system. It came from within themselves, where there's a desire to do something with their lives in whether it's academia or they see a career that they have suited for them, that they want to pursue. That came from within themselves. It's developed. Have teachers assisted or guided? Yes. They guide and instructed and informed, but I believe it still comes from the individual. I'd like to see that rewarded by contributions to the Dollars for Scholars. It's just important to me. You don't mind the plug, do you?
I do not. Michael Ganshert and his team over the Dollars for Scholars do a great job. That committee.
Yes.
So, real quick, folks want to find out more about you. If they want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Email scloutman63@gmail.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being my
Thanks
guest.
for having me, Kevin.
You got it?
All right.
And we want to thank you for tuning into a program like this, Conversations with the Candidates. Feel as though you can watch these programs and get an idea as to where your candidates stand on the issues. Remember, your voting day is Saturday, May 17th. If you're not sure as to voting status or where to vote or how to vote, contact your respective town clerk's office. And until our next conversation, have a great day.